around Madison Square Garden. Let's do a vibe check on the team and the fans about the actual game, because in a few hours, all that stuff won't matter. John Chandler, sports anchor, covering the game for us tonight. And John, you've seen a lot of Knicks teams over the years fall short. They are 2 wins away from the promised land. And they, even though they lost that last game, they felt like they were robbed because of the referees. We'll get to that in a second. My first question is vibe check. Are Knicks fans nervous?
So there's 2 schools of thought here. I'll take you down the most obvious one. Part of being a Knicks fan, part of the Knicks fan experience is the stress that inevitably comes with it. That feeling that around the corner, impending doom is waiting at all times. And that is part and parcel with going 53 years without a championship. So the longer it takes to get that title that you've been chasing, the more things that happen along the way, the more used to you are that this probably isn't going to end well. So there's a bit of stress, right, that's built in with just being a Knicks fan. On the flip side, you got to remember that this Knicks team, I mean, they won the first 2 games on the road in Boston, lost game 3, ended up coming back, winning game 4 somewhat emphatically last year, and then they go on to win that series. So there is some experience that this team has in this situation. I think they're going to come out here in game 4 and really put their foot down and win this basketball game, because they talked about, again, that desperation that, we're 0-0. That's what they're going to get back to tonight. They know they have to win this game, because if they don't win this game tonight, if San Antonio takes game 4, you're all evened up at 2-2 going back to San Antonio for game 5. All of a sudden, the worm has turned, as my grandmother used to like to say, and that changes everything in this series.
Okay, what can we expect as far as officiating? We know the coach, Mike Brown, complained after the loss, and he said, hey, that was not quite even. The refs were calling a lot more fouls on the Knicks than they were on the Spurs in the second half. Do we expect the referees to do anything differently in the game?
Well, first of all, unusual, right? I mean, that takes a lot. And it had to be egregious for a coach to come down there and not even prompted, really, to start in on that. He wanted to make that point. That was a conscious decision that Mike Brown and the Knicks, bigger picture, made to go after the referees like that, because that carries consequences in the NBA. He's probably going to have to pay a hefty fine for that. But, money well spent, I guess, if he gets the point across. So he felt it was egregious. And look, he pointed to the free throw. I mean, it was 33-22 free throws overall in the game in favor of the Spurs. That's not particularly egregious, but the 24-8 disparity in the second half, 24 free throw attempts for the Spurs to only 8 for the Knicks. That's what really sent Mike Brown into a frenzy. And when you particularly look at how physical the game was too, he conceded. Yeah, we might have fouled some guys out there, but the Spurs did too. And they clearly didn't get called for a lot of that, especially Victor Wembanyama, just literally just shoving Jalen Brunson in what was not at all a basketball play.
Yeah, so, I've had plenty of Knicks fans bring that one up with me. Like, come on. Yeah, is Wemby dirty? All these questions.
Clearly it was a disparity. Now, I will say, and Mike Brown did point out before he launched into that whole thing, the Spurs won the game. The Spurs were the better team. I mean, the Knicks created too many turnovers. They were too stagnant on offense. They missed shots that they normally make. So those are bigger reasons for why the Knicks lost game 3. They didn't lose game 3 because the free throw disparity was weighed heavily in favor of the Spurs. But it was a factor. There's no question. I think you're going to see a more evenly officiated game tonight. I think the NBA is aware of that. They have a different crew, by the way, from game 3 to game 4. Zach Zarba, James Williams, Courtney Kirkland, and Justin Van Dyke are your 4 officials for tonight's game. Just in case you're going to the game and you're wondering who you should shout out to. I mean, I used to, when I was growing up, we would go to games in Cleveland, Cavs games. We sat close enough where I would get the front row seats. They would pass out the names of the officials, and I'd have somebody give me the sheet so I knew the officials' names. So
you weren't heckling them, though, right? No heckling?
12-year-old me was,
come on.
If they missed a call by chance, I mean, I might let Joey Crawford know about it.
John Chandler, heckling teenage boy at the Cleveland Cavs games. We learned something today.
They miss calls.
Knicks fans are probably going to support